Imagine having the power to instantly find exactly what you need in a sea of data. Whether you're managing sales figures, tracking inventory, or organizing complex projects, there's one Excel formula that can transform the way that you work. Today, we're diving into the magic of VLOOKUP, unlocking its secrets to help you streamline your spreadsheets and boost your productivity. Get ready to master a tool that has turned overwhelming data into clear, actionable insights. Let's explore how VLOOKUP can revolutionize your Excel experience. Okay guys, so we're going to kick things off right here inside Excel. This is some dummy data that we have. Basically, we've got employee IDs, departments, we've got locations, the amount of impressions, clicks, units sold, and ad spend that they have on various different campaigns. Obviously, this data really doesn't make a lot of sense, but it gives you an idea as to kind of how we're going to look for specific pieces of information and get the results that we're looking for. Okay, so VLOOKUP can be broken down into a few different components. Now, VLOOKUP is quite an old formula. It's one that's been around for a very long time, and well, it's kind of well known in the space as being the go-to formula if you want to pull something out of your data set. So let's go ahead and break this down. What is the VLOOKUP? Well, the VLOOKUP lets you bring back a result based on an indexed number or piece of text. Okay, so for example, we have our employee IDs down here. If we want to bring back the ad spend of a specific employee, well, we can go ahead and put in a specific ID here. Let's say it's 1024. Okay, we can go into the cell to the right hand side of that, go equals VLOOKUP, and open up a bracket. Okay, you can also click into this if you want, and it will give you some help tips on how to use it. Now, the lookup value is the 1024, right? So we can give that cell a click right there, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We hit comma, that's going to open up the next part of our formula, which is the table array. In our case here, the table array is going to be this entire area right here, from the column A all the way through to column G. Okay, now we can hit comma again, and the index number, okay, which is the number of columns that holds the result. Okay, so if we want the ad spend, we have to count the number of columns from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So in this case, it would be column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'd put the number 7 in here. Then we'd go ahead and hit comma once again, and this time you get two statements. True, which is an approximate match, so if you're looking for 1024 or the closest number to it, or alternatively false, which would be the exact match. And in this particular case, we want the exact match. So we'd go ahead and either double click the word false here, and it will put it in, or we can type the word false. And we just close a bracket and press return. And you can see here it's returned the number 70. So if we come to our little data set here on this row 22, for example, the ID was 1024, so it's found that, and it's gone all the way across to the ad spend, which is 70. Okay, we can change this column index within our formula bar here as well. So where it currently says 7, let's hypothetically say we don't want the ad spend, but we want to know how many units were sold. Well, in which case we can change that to one column before, which by typing 6 rather than 7. If we do that, it's going to change it to 14. Again, we can check by coming down to our column here, or to our row, for the employee ID of 1024, and we can find that the unit sold is 14. Now, here's the thing with VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP will only let you look to the right-hand side of whatever you're indexing. So in this particular case, we indexed the number, the employee ID. Therefore, it can only bring back any column's worth of data that is to the right-hand side of that index. Okay, if we had some data to the left-hand side, well, VLOOKUP will not be able to do that. It will not be able to bring that back. But fear not, you should probably check out XLOOKUP, and I'll link it right here. Okay, so with that out of the way, how would we go ahead and change our formula a little bit so that we can be using it in a slightly different way? Let's hypothetically say that we do not want to bring back something using a number. What if we wanted to use text? Well, let's say that we were looking for the design. Okay, so if I type design in here, this is a department that we have. So if we're looking for the design department and we want to bring back, let's say, how many clicks that the design department has had, well, in which case we would come into here, we would change our VLOOKUP formula ever so slightly. So in this time, instead of looking in column A, because our index is not in column A, we would change this to column B instead. Okay, so the data starts at column B and runs to G. This time we want to know how many clicks there were. This would be column 1, 2, 3, 4, and so therefore instead of 6 we would type 4. Press return, and it's going to find the design department coming down into our list here, design department, and it's going to come across until we find the number of clicks, which would be 66, and it's going to bring back that result. The main issue with VLOOKUP is that people don't have the data structured. So what they have is they're trying to bring back a column that is to the left rather than to the right. So that's not going to work with VLOOKUP. However, what you could do is change the structure of your data so that everything is always to the right of your lookup value, or as was said alternatively, look up an X formula because it is more dynamic like that. Now the other pitfalls is when your data isn't quite in the same type, and what I mean by that is maybe you have a number in here. So if I go back and we change this to 1024, this is a number, but what if it wasn't? What if this was text, right? And I can easily do that just by putting in a little mark just here. You can see that you're going to come back with an NA error. This will happen because it's looking for text inside a column that only has numbers, and it can't do that. So again, you would have to make sure that your formula is always addressing a number. Now, there's a little trick that I like to use here when I am looking for a number. So for example, if I know that my column that I'm looking into, like the column A here, is specifically numbers, and I want to guarantee that my lookup value is numbers, I can come into my formula bar here and I can put my formula, my lookup array, okay, so my lookup value, into its own set of brackets, and I can multiply it by 1. In doing so, that is going to dynamically force that into a number. Okay, so this time we have the number of clicks for the ID that is 1024, even though that my lookup value, the dynamic cell of J6, is set as text. I have multiplied it by 1 within my formula and allowed me to bring back the number of clicks for the product department, or specifically the employee ID 1024. So as you can see, there's lots of different ways that you can use VLOOKUP. So let me know how you get on in the comments down below. If you found this video somewhat useful, informative and helpful in any way, make sure to smash that like button for me, guys, and consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all the hints and tips that I have from Microsoft 365. And if you guys haven't done so already, check that video out right there. It's probably one you don't want to miss.